Hello, I'm Elgato and welcome back to the video. So a lot of you are probably aware of this by now, but if you didn't know, the old version of Minecraft and the new version of Minecraft on the Xbox are very, very different, both in terms of the code bases they work from. So for instance, you'll find weird stuff like fallen trees only on this version, you'll find stuff like, oh, it looks like the water source can change on this version, but also in the fact that this version uses infinite worlds. This means the spacing of biomes and the spacing of the world in general is just massively changed on this version, which means it can essentially have more access to biomes that you previously couldn't have on the old version of Minecraft console. This means that there are biomes which you've probably never seen before, even though you've seen something similar to them, only on this new version, and that's what made me want to go through and show you 5 biomes you've probably never seen before, and you'll only find on this new version of Minecraft on the Xbox, Pocket Edition, and Windows 10. So hopefully you do enjoy this video. You can like it if you do like it, because it helps out the channel, and I say you do like seeing this sort of weird thing, in this case, again, new biomes you've never seen before, but just, you know, other weird comparisons between the old version and the new one. But let's get straight into it, shall we? And let's start with the swamp biome, actually, because, again, the swamp biome by itself isn't a new one. We've all seen swamps. They look like this. They sometimes like blend with the water a little bit, but one of the things you've probably never seen is swamp lakes, which are this size right here. So swamp lakes couldn't exist on the edition version of Minecraft, i.e. the 360, PS3, or all the console versions, because, you know, they have a limited sized world, and that limited sized world doesn't have space for hundreds of blocks of just pure swamp. And as you can see right here, this version does have space, but it's not just that it has, you know, lakes like this, which were theoretically possible and maybe you found once in every world now, but you actually can find lakes on a huge scale you probably haven't even considered before. And they're not just lakes in terms of the fact that, oh yeah, there's a lot of water here. They're water with some lily pads on it, with trees coming out of the water, so you have like this huge trek through the water. And what makes it more interesting than even that to me is the fact that because the water here is a different color, one of the things you might not have known about it is it actually blinds you if you go in it. You can't see anything inside the water. Again, let me show you that again. You can see nothing inside here besides your little black cursor. And the reason this is so interesting is because it means that you have this brand new biome with new, you know, it's a new scale you've never seen before. It's a new type you've never seen before. Again, like just a giant lake. It has new functionality you've never seen before, and it can also spawn with structures in the middle of it. That's right, the swamp lake is the first new biome because it can include witches' huts, it can include trees, lily pads, and if you try to explore this thing and you get knocked below the water, you'll be able to see literally nothing. And there's just something about that that fascinates me personally, and maybe it does for you too. So yeah, this is the 5th brand new biome that you can see in this version of the game only, and not in the old one, and I think it's a pretty wacky one. But that moves us nicely into the 4th biome that is exclusive to only this version of the game, because it is the snow biome. So by this snow biome, I mean really the snow plains biome, because although the ice spikes biome is different, it's not, you know, hugely different in terms of like what you expect. It's just it's bigger, and although, you know, cold tigers are different, so they're not hugely different, they're just bigger. But in terms of like a biome which you've probably never seen in the way it's done in this version is the snow plains biome. So the snow plains biome is any area where you just have nothing but snow in any long direction, and these biomes are so different and so fascinating because first of all, you can find, you know, you can find villages in them, so you can find snowy villages now. Again, a fact you wouldn't have been able to find before. I think that's fascinating. But as well as having villages which can be covered in snow, which is a good enough thing by itself, you'll also see how winter really changes everything. Snow actually falls on these places, so you always see that there's some amount of like, again, like the biome is not only changed because it can have villages and because it like exists for bigger spaces, but also because it's more uneven. It's rather than just having one snow block covering the ground, you see how like you have multiple snow blocks, and although you're seeing more and more form because it's snowing, this gets worse and worse over time. So the longer you leave your snow biome, the crazier it gets, and the more uneven it gets, and the taller it gets, which is something you don't see in any other biome in Minecraft. No other biome like changes over time. This one actually does, which is fascinating. And then on top of that, you can see how any trees you find here are actually exclusively colored in this biome. So any part of it that is in a snow biome, while it is snowing, will actually turn to white instead of green, which means that you get white trees all over this place. That's right, this biome has an exclusive color of tree. It's just, you know, you can do this with any type of tree, but the fact that you can get exclusive tree colors, and I guess it's tree leaf colors, because if we take this leaf block, as you can see, it looks green in your hand, but you place some and it's white. Isn't that just the most amazing thing that's exclusive to one biome? I think it is, and that's why this example is the one that inspired me to make this video, because this is something you could never experience before, and it's something that now that you can experience, there's like, yeah, again, it's fascinating to look at, and it's something you might not even realize you're coming across, or something you realize you should look for. But if you haven't found one of these in your world, and if you haven't found any of these in your world, make sure you check it out, because it's something to be seen. So, oh, by the way, as soon as the snow stops, the color slowly fades back into green, and this, again, there's just something great about watching all of this happen that makes me personally like fascinated by this biome, and that's why I made a video, and now I guess a second like little bit of a video mentioning this, because it's just one of these things in Minecraft that you should check out. So let's move on to the 3rd biome that you should be checking out, because it is the extreme hill forest, I guess you would call it. So basically, the old version of Minecraft has limits on how far high the extreme hills can go, and this seems to apply to this version too. I've yet to find an Extreme Hills which has a Y coordinate above Y126, so I was fascinated to find that there isn't a more extreme version of the Extreme Hill. You sometimes find more of them in one place, like look how much Extreme Hill is going on over there. But one of the other things you'll find about this that I think is rather interesting is the fact that you'll see there's a bunch of trees which can spawn on these sometimes, forming this Extreme Hills, it's like called the variant biome, but it's the Extreme Hills variant where you find lots and lots and lots of trees found all over this place. So they're spruce trees because it's a cold biome, and it means that you can find Extreme Hills which you can actually settle down on and find trees and stuff. And you might think like, wait a minute, no, I saw those before. No, you could find 1 or 2 trees sometimes to Extreme Hills before, but now you can actually find fully fledged forests on top of the Extreme Hills. This wasn't something that this isn't like just a variant of something where it's like, oh, this is better, so it's basically a new biome. This is a full-on biome you just wouldn't see on the old version. For whatever reason, it didn't exist, whereas on this version, you can find some of it, and you can not only find some of it, you can find a whole bunch of it. If I fly over here, you can see how there's just so much available. There's so many trees on this whole thing, and it's just really fascinating to look at the fact that, again, there's this whole new biome. It's essentially a snow plains biome, which is this high up, and you can find them right next to deserts, which I find to be interesting in its own little right. And again, it's one interesting place to settle down for a house because it's snowy, so it has the benefits of a snow biome, but it also has the benefits of having trees and of having a nice place to settle down with your house with a nice view attached to it. So yeah, again, from this place, we get an extreme hill view, we get a desert view, and we get a view of the ocean, which is the second brand new biome, so again, in like top 5 form, that you can only find in this new version, because oceans in the old versions were really more like seas. You could sometimes find them for hundreds of blocks if you got the craziest oceans, but for the most part, oceans were something that existed at the edge of your world, and they went for not too long. Well, what if I said that instead of just going for, you know, like 100, 200, sometimes 300, 400 blocks, what if I said on this version you could find oceans that went on for literally thousands of blocks? Check my X coordinate, I've gone about 800 blocks right now, and this ocean is still continuing, and that, you know, that seems pretty crazy, 800 blocks. What if I told you it just keeps on going on and on and on? If we drink a speed potion, and we really try to get our speed up here, and we just keep on flying as fast as we humanly can. First of all, we're going to outrun our rend distance, which is a fun thing you can only do because of the size of this ocean. But 2, you're going to keep on seeing that the ocean continues and continues and continues. You can find oceans which are thousands of blocks, or again, I'm not sure if it goes to tens of thousands, but I imagine given that we have one that's like 2,000 blocks here, if you get lucky, you could find one that goes for even more thousands of blocks. And as you can see, oh, we're at 800 blocks, 1,800 blocks, and it still doesn't look like it's ending. There is an almost endless amount of ocean in this version. I'm sure, you know, without very much effort, you could find yourself a 10,000 block ocean, and that's just because of the size of the biomes they can enable here. So just saying really big oceans that are basically oceans compared to the old version seas doesn't really make it a new biome. So one of the things you might not have known about this, so let's quickly night vision ourselves. One of the things you might not have known about this version is the fact that the oceans can appear much deeper. So again, this is the same thing where like when it has the size, it can use the size to go downwards. So we actually look down here, so I'm going to fly downwards very quickly. So let's just go into the ocean. I'm like trapped flying for some reason. If we go into the ocean with our night vision potion, you can see how the bottom corner at the very bottom, I have no idea what's happening here. So there we go. Okay, so the corner at the very bottom right here, as you can see, is actually about 35. You can get 32. You can get even lower than that. The ocean can go deeper than you can actually swim in Minecraft, like without drowning, that is. And that's crazy that you actually find an ocean that really is an ocean. And because of the fact that it's so deep down, although this is not too recommended, if you really want, it can give you an opportunity to cave a lot lower. So if you don't find a cave which gives you access to lower blocks like you might be wanting, one of the things you can do on this version, again, it's really risky, not necessarily recommended, is you can actually go right down to the bottom of the ocean. And if you dig down from here, you get access to, like, you know, oceans and access to caves and stuff a lot easier than you otherwise would. And it means you can go right down to diamond lair very quickly. So I can find diamonds around here, no problem, with very little problems, because it's right accessible into the sea. So again, that's like a weird way to do things, but it's something you just didn't really have access to on the old version. Oceans this size with this amount of exploration, because again, with the old version, it's just like, oh yeah, there's an ocean, not much going on there. With this version, you can explore oceans for days if you want to find an ocean monument. It's not just whether you have one in your sea, not you're gonna have one, it's just you gotta find it. You can find stuff like mob spawners below that. You can find all this rare stuff, and it's actually worth looking around the oceans, which is a new and novel experience if you ask me. So what's the final biome that's worth checking out besides, look, we got another ice plains biome. Look at the size of this thing too. The size of the biomes really changes everything in a whole big way. Look, it's an ice plains biome with a lava pit. But the final biome that I want to talk about actually isn't in the overworld, because technically speaking, if you don't know, the nether biome is actually called the hell biome, and the end biome does exist as a full-on biome. So if we go to the end, then you might notice that the end itself is mostly the same. Like, the dragon fight's a lot harder. I realized this on stream, and it was one of these, like, really painful moments. Did I mess something up horribly there? We'll try one more time. Because one of the things that you have to be really careful about when it comes to making portals is you want to be really careful that you actually place everything in there correctly. So we're going to go to the end right now, making sure that everything's facing internally. And as you can see, something just went horribly wrong here. Maybe it's because there's blocks in the way. That shouldn't be the issue. I think maybe it's just like my world is like glitched in some way. So what we'll do is I'll get back to you when we're in the end and I can show you how it looks. Oh, no. Okay, it was probably just the snow. Snow gets in the way of end portals. Fun fact. So the end itself doesn't look too different, but interestingly enough, it doesn't have world borders. Like there's no edge here. You can just walk off the edge if you really want to. And that might seem like it's kind of silly because that's how it previously was. And it's like, do we really need that Toycat? Do we want to walk off the edge? No, you don't really want to walk off the edge unless, let's say you want to go to the end city without being the Ender Dragon. So yeah, basically the end city is a biome which did exist on the old version of Minecraft console, you know, the editions, but it only really token existed. Like it existed, but in this like really cut down form. However, on this version, as you're going to see, if we go all the way away from the end, so there's the end with the Podimon, let's just go the opposite way now, shall we? So let's make sure that behind us is the end island. We're going to go this way right now, and we go this way really fast. We've got a speed potion on. Did we drink it properly? We've got a speed potion on, we've got our Elytra wings, and we're heading down as fast as we can. Look at the speed, our coordinates are going down, and if we just go just over 1,000 blocks this way, we'll see it in about a few hundred blocks, you'll see how suddenly out of nowhere, blocks just appear, because the end islands are not this separate dimension, they're connected to your main dimension, and you can get there without having to beat the Ender Dragon. And that's crazy by itself, but the reason this biome is entirely new and different is because, again, it's not this cut down husk of the end city, it's actually this fully formed place with like huge end islands, as well as mini ones that connect together, with huge end islands and almost infinite amount of exploration. Like, let me just quickly show you, if we just keep on going this way and we keep on flying, because that's what we're into, then you'll see how the end islands just keep on going and they keep on going and they keep on going, and it means that truly this is the one biome in the game you need to explore, because you don't just get given your end city. Oh, apparently I found one here. You find these mini end cities sometimes, and then if you're lucky, if we keep on exploring, eventually you'll find like a big end city, which is where you'll go to find your stuff. And this means two big things. It means, first of all, that finding end cities is a bit harder, so once you get one, you can feel prouder. It means that you have to be really cautious about getting to and from this particular end city, because again, it's finding all this stuff is tricky, but also it means that you can explore infinitely if you want to. Do you want to try and guarantee you'll find a mending sword? If you spend enough time here, if you're willing to go through the risk, the exploration, if you have the blocks to build, because bear in mind, you need to throw ender pearls or you need to fly to actually like properly explore this place, then you can really explore this place and find what it has to offer. And like I said, eventually you'll find an end ship with an Elytra, and it took me 3,000 blocks to get here, but I found one now, and the exploration and the find of it is much better for that. Obviously there's downsides to it, and like it's not necessarily recommended for everyone, but the fact that you can have this exploration ability and you can explore infinitely is just something that really benefits the end more than anything else. Like the overworld, I quite like the fact that there's limited size worlds in some cases, but with the end, I feel like having it infinite is a great thing. Look, it's stuff that I'll never find again once I leave this place, because there's no reset end. Instead, if you want to reset the end or you want to find more stuff, all you have to do is you have to fly even more. So it looks like I have two entities right next to each other here, but still, you get the point. That's why this biome is amazing. That's why this is the craziest biome that you need to check out in this version, and that's why I made today's video, to let you know about all 5 of these, and hopefully to encourage you to explore your world a bit better. So hopefully you did all enjoy this video. Like it if you did like it, because it helps out the channel and lets us know you do enjoy these sorts of videos. Share it if you really liked it, and subscribe if you're around here, because I make videos like this one, including top 5s, which I'm doing a bunch more of if you keep wanting to see them, daily on my homepage, and daily on your homepage. And if you hit the bell, then you actually see them every single time I upload. And if you want to keep up to date with the latest and greatest goings on in Minecraft, that's the best way to do that. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.